Well, I am so excited that you're here today. All we're going to have a great time together. We start a brand new series, and we're calling it Rise Up and Renew. And our goal of this series is going to be 3 weeks. Our goal, and really my goal, is to prepare us for going over to our new building in the new year. Come on, somebody. We're excited for that. Pastor, give me a date. I don't know the date yet, but it's going to be the beginning of the new year. And so I want to get you ready for that. And so it's just going to be incredible what God does in this series. Incredible today. Today is our first look tours. Anybody excited about our first look tours? Going to be incredible. Literally, we have hundreds of people signed up for our 10 tours. Today starts at 2 p.m. Would you pray for your pastors? We not only have our 2 services today, but we have 10 back-to-back first look tours. I'm hoping I'll still have this much energy in the last one, all right? So you test me if you're going to be at the last one. I think I'm going to have it. God's going to give us strength. So excited about it. And I want to encourage you, because some of you are thinking, oh snap, we did not sign up. I meant to sign up, but then my kid threw up, whatever it is, And so that's what I encourage you. 8 of the 10 are full, but the last 2 are still open, all right? And I say that, I think we had a lot signed up probably in first service too, but so 6 and 6:30 are still open. You will not miss the Texans game, all right? So you can still go to one of those. I'm a smart pastor, we planned accordingly, all right? And so 6 and 6:30 are still open. You can sign up even now. I'll believe that you're not on the gram, all right? You're signing up on our website, but want you a part of that. But we're gonna have hundreds there today, just gonna be incredible. So excited about First Look Tours. And then next Sunday, somebody say next Sunday. Next Sunday is Finish Strong Sunday, and that's the day that we're believing God for a $300,000 offering that's going to go towards Renew, our vision campaign for the renovation and expansion. And so what I want to do is I want to set you up for success next Sunday, whether you're going to be in person or online. When you came in today, you had a Finish Strong card. Would you grab it? I promise I won't make you turn it in, but just humor me. It was on your seat, so please grab it. Don't be that person that's like, I'm not playing along because you asked me to. Don't be that guy. Don't be that girl. So grab it. I just want to make sure you know how next Sunday is going to go. I want to prepare you for it. On the back of the Finish Strong card, there's 3 different categories, and every single one of us are in one of these categories. Number 1, it's for all of our newer people, or maybe you were even here a year ago, but you did not participate, meaning that you have not given anything towards Renew. That is the number 1 category there. So you can, next Sunday, turn this in, but also give a one-time gift. That's that first box. Or next Sunday, you can turn this Finish Strong card in the giving box and give a 3-month pledge. So maybe you were here a year ago, but 3 years seemed like too far beyond you. So you'll have a 3-month pledge option. So that's the first category next week. The second category, my wife and I are in this one, is that you're going to give another lump sum towards your initial pledge. So my wife and I have given a 3-year pledge. We actually shared that amount at our vision banquet. We've only shared it there publicly. It's very sacrificial for us, and we've already been giving towards that, but we have not finished it because it's a big number. And so we're going to give another lump sum, and so we would write that amount and then also give that offering next Sunday towards Renew. And the third category, and it's not going to be a lot of people, but it's going to be some, that you've already met your goal. Like you've already accelerated that, or God is speaking to you even now, or maybe he'll even speak to you later today as you begin to see things, like actually with your eyes and even beyond that with your heart, and God's speaking to you to give above your initial pledge. So that's that third category. So I'm hoping and praying for 100% participation. It's not about how much you give, it's doing whatever God asks you to do. Amen? Come on, better amen? And so listen to God, do what he says, and if we hit that 300, and I say not if, when we hit that $300,000 goal, we're going to celebrate. I may even do a backflip in skinny jeans. You'll want to show up just to see that. Actually, I probably shouldn't do that, but I'd be in the hospital next. We need a resurrection up in here. Y'all pray for me. But so excited about today and then also next Sunday. All right, if you got a copy of the scriptures, turn with me to Nehemiah chapter 2. Nehemiah chapter 2. This series, 3 weeks starting today, I thought it'd be really cool. Since we were talking about our building project over there, I thought it'd be cool to kind of research different building projects in the Bible. So we've been talking about ours a lot, but like to get ready for ours, maybe we should learn about some that have already happened in the Bible. So that's what we're going to do in the next couple of weeks. We'll do one at a time. Today we're going to focus on Nehemiah's story. And this is Nehemiah, a man of God, a leader, and God used him and God's people, the Israelites, to rebuild the walls, the protection of Jerusalem, okay? God's city. And so that's what we're going to read about and study about today, and we'll pick one different building project over the next couple weeks. We're going to have fun, we're going to learn, you're going to laugh, this is going to be great. Nehemiah chapter 2, verse 17. I'm reading out of the English Standard Version. That's why it says ESV on the screen. And here's what it says. Then I said to them, you see the trouble we are in, how Jerusalem lies in ruins with its gates burned. Come, let us build the wall of Jerusalem that we may no longer suffer derision. And I told them of the hand of my God that had been upon me for good, and also of the words the king had spoken to me. And they said, let us rise up. Somebody say, rise up. Let us rise up and build. So they strengthened their hands for the good work. We're going to stop there for now, but keep your Bible or Bible app open because we're going to turn to another chapter in Nehemiah a little bit later on. But let's pray. God, we thank you for your word. We thank you that your word is powerful. And I'm so excited about this series. Got so much anticipation that not only are we talking about our building project here at Christ Covenant, but we can learn from building projects in the Bible. What did they go through? How did they participate? What did it take? What was the turnout? All that kind of stuff, God. We can be inspired. We can be equipped. And so we pray that you would ready our hearts. God, I know that it would be a shame if we just went business as usual and just walked over the new building one day and nothing changed on the inside of us. That would be a shame. God, you want to build us up to ready us for the harvest that we believe is going to come. So we don't just wait till then. We say here and now, have your way, build us up, do what you want to do inside every single person. Lord, we love you, and we thank you again for what you're doing today, and in faith, what we believe you're going to do through this message in your word. And we ask all this in Jesus' mighty name. And the church said, Amen. There was a guy in the 1990s. Great decade, by the way. Recommend it, 1990s. And he played for the Chicago Bulls. Now, this was the era of Michael Jordan. And by the way, can we just put the debate to rest? It's Jordan over LeBron. It's Jordan over Kobe. You can have your opinion, but it's wrong, okay? So, it's Jordan. It's Jordan. But I don't want to talk about Michael Jordan. I want to talk about another guy on the team named Randy Brown. Anybody know who Randy Brown is? I figured, like two of us, okay? Same thing in first service. A lot of people don't know who he is. Randy Brown was also on that team in the 90s. Honestly, he was known not really for his play on the court. He was known for his pre-game cheer that he came up with. And honestly, a lot of you've heard it before, you just didn't know it came from him. And by the way, Randy Brown, not only did he play for the Bulls, but before he made it to the NBA, he played for U of H. Come on, somebody, go Cougars, you know what I'm saying? And so anyways, so Randy Brown, here was the cheer he came up with, and they would do this in the 90s before every game. And here was the cheer. He would ask the team in the pregame huddle, what time is it? And they would shout back, game time. So what time is it? Game time. It's something that every single game, before the game, a pre-game chant. And so what I want to do this morning is I want to play Randy Brown, okay? And what I want to do is I want to ask you passionately and enthusiastically, what time is it? And I want you to respond passionately. But I don't want you to respond with game time, because even though we're in a gym, we're not playing basketball. I understand the irony in that, you know. I get it, it's basketball goals, Woodville, I get all of that. But here's what I want you to respond with. When I ask you, what time is it? I want you to shout back, build time. Build time, because it's time to build here at Christ Covenant, all right? So I'm going to ask, what time is it? And you shout back, build time. And because I'm competitive, I want to use these sections right here to have you compete against each other. Now, here's what I love about this moment, is some of you are going to hate this. But I love that, all right? And I like making it a little bit uncomfortable. So we're going to start with this section on my right, on your left. Again, I'm going to ask you what time, and we'll just see if you're the holier group, okay? We'll just see what's going on here. What time is it? Then build time, all right? Here we go. What time is it? Build time! Ooh, that was good. Some of y'all are like proud of yourselves. You're like, we good. All right, middle section, here we go. What time is it? Whoa, chills. You can't see it, chills. Did we save the best for last? Some of you are not convinced. You're like, I don't know. There's like 10 people in this service that you wish you skipped service today. Like, this is your worst nightmare. All right, here we go. What time is it? I think y'all won. Congratulations. There's gonna be like 3 people from these sections that leave. You're mad at me right now. You're just like, no, we won, Pastor, we won. You're competitive just like me. It's build time around here. Like, what time is it? Is build time. You know, I was thinking about this, and there really is just something so special about building. Like, even think about when you were a kid, and many of us, we have younger kids, and maybe you got younger grandkids, but even like children, there's just something about building, right? Like, has anybody else spent way too much on Legos in your house? You know? Like, I've spent way too much. Like, we have way too many Legos because our kids love to build. Now, I did Legos like some, not a lot, but back in my day, it was more Tinker Toys. Anybody know about some Tinker Toys? Wrong service, I guess. Okay. We had Lincoln Logs. That was even before my time, but I still play with them. Anybody know about Nex? Anybody? A couple of us, right? And so just something about building. But it's not just building. There's really something awe-inspiring about buildings in general. Like, I brought a couple of them to show you that I love, I know you love. Here's the first one. Love this building. Minute Maid Park. Right? Go Stros. And I remember it. We're almost at 7 years being here at Christ Covenant. I remember the first time that we went to Minute Maid Park, and I was blown away. Like, it really is incredible. You got like the train and the train conductor. And by the way, does anybody else think he gets a little bit too close to the edge, that train conductor? Like, I get nervous. Like, he's in his overalls, he's cheering, he's pumping up the crowd. I'm like, dude, you're a little too comfortable up there. But I love the fireworks we'll have, sometimes on Friday nights. And how many of y'all know, you cannot have a stadium, even if it's baseball, like, you cannot have a ballpark, a stadium, whatever, in Houston without air conditioning. Like, they tried that in Dallas. They had to build a new one, okay? Like just crazy. Like, thank God for air conditioning. Can I get a witness, Some of y'all are like, it's too cold in the gym. Would you rather be too cold or too hot, okay? Like, just come on. And so this is an amazing building, just incredible. Love it. Now, some of you are old school. You've been in Houston for a minute, and so you go even pre-Minute Maid Park. You know this place. Shout it out if you know it. Now, how many of y'all know it does not look like that anymore? Right, that's heyday Astrodome. And not just games there, concerts. They basically, anything you could think of, right, Pastor? They had a lot that went down. A lot of you have great memories, nostalgia, maybe even some scary, sketchy moments towards the end, kind of deal. But these buildings, they speak something to us. They evoke emotion. We've got memories tied to them. Now, the building on all our hearts today, it's not a baseball stadium, not the Astrodome. Here's what we're thinking about. That's the building I'm thinking about. It's the house of God. It's the expansion and the renovation of our building across the street there, across Long and Bow. But with all that said, hear me loud and clear, Christ Covenant. I want to give you the first point today. With all the building, all the renovation, all the expansion, I want you to hear this. Number one, building people is more important than constructing buildings. Oh, I love that building. I'm there almost every single day. I am all about the details over there. We are working hard to make sure everything is done according to God's standards, which are the highest standards. But can I tell you, hear the voice of your pastor. More important than building that building, I want to see you built in your faith. I want God to build you. I want God to strengthen you. I want God to fortify you. Bigger than any building. How many of y'all know that is just a tool? That is a tool, just like money. It's used for good, used for evil. And we're going to use that for good. But that is just a tool. It's all about reaching more people, reaching the lost, equipping the found, discipling the next generation. Way more important than constructing a building, we need to focus on building people. And as you study the Word of God in the different building projects, and specifically Nehemiah's, like, this is the case there too. That's God's heart. It goes way beyond a building. Again, you need it. It's a tool, but it goes way beyond that. It's focused about the person. It's focused on the people. Now, 5 years ago, a couple years into being here, we actually did a verse-by-verse study through the entire book of Nehemiah. Most of you were not here 5 years ago. But today, just for time's sake, I can't get into all the details, but I want to give you like a flyover, just give you some important context because you need this to help the story really to shine. But here's the Cliff Notes version of Nehemiah's story, what's going on in the context, the historical setting here. There's a reason why Nehemiah wants to do this. Yes, God spoke it to him, but you need to know that one of the big reasons why Nehemiah wants to rebuild the walls and the gates of Jerusalem is because Jerusalem is his home city. So I want you to put that to our context for a second. The reason why we're so passionate about that building is because of our home city, or even if you live in a suburb, whatever, of Houston. Like, we love our city, right? Some of you are like, maybe. We love the people in our city. Can I say it better? Love the people. And so it's personal for us, and it was personal for Nehemiah. It was his hometown, the city that he loves. And that's why, look again at the scripture. That's why it says this, and this is Nehemiah talking at the end of verse 17. What did he say? He says, hey, we got to do this. Like, we have to rebuild the walls and the gates, and here's why. So we no longer suffer derision. That's just a fancy way of saying disgrace. So let me translate that for a moment. Nehemiah's like, hey, for far too long has God's city been in ruins. For far too long has the church been a laughingstock. For far too long has everybody focused on anything and everything but God's city, the city that I love. It is time to rise up. It is time to rebuild. I'm not okay with it being in ruins any longer. Somebody's got to step up, and guess what? It's going to be me and God's people. He's saying, hey, no longer will they laugh at us. No longer will we live beneath what God's calling and purpose is on our life. We will rise up. We will shine again like we're supposed to shine. You see, at this point in history, God's temple, aka the house of God, it had already been rebuilt. Not only that, but even before that, a lot of God's people, and not all of them, but some of them had moved back, and they had their houses rebuilt. And so you had the temple, which we're going to talk about next Sunday, kind of a prequel to this message, so come on back. But you had the temple in Jerusalem rebuilt. You had houses rebuilt, but again, there was no wall surrounding, no gates surrounding it. What are you trying to say, Pastor? I'm trying to say that there was no border protection. Now, I'm not trying to get political with our southern border, but we all know that you need a border to bring security, okay? Well, no, yeah, you do. In fact, if you really believe you don't need a border, then open up your front door to your house and just leave it open 24/7, right? Because if you don't have a wall around your city, especially back in Bible times, it's like you leaving your front door open for anybody to come in and attack, to plunder. Hey, you're welcoming bad people to come in while you're sleeping. That's what you're doing, okay? And so they didn't have that. They didn't have protection. And so they needed somebody to step up and to protect God's people. I'll say it to you another way. Nehemiah knew this went way beyond just this little tiny project. It was all about being a blessing to the city that he loved. Come on, is that not the mandate of the church? We don't want just some cool building. It's going to be cool. But we want way beyond that to be a blessing to our city. That if God forbid we ever went under one day, the city would mourn. Why? Because we made that much of a difference in our city. Somebody believes it. That's our calling. And so what I'm trying to get across, and it was true for Nehemiah, it is people over project. Like, it's all about reaching people. It's all about helping disciple people. It's all about being a blessing to our city that we love. It goes way beyond brick and mortar. It's all about the person. And so we have to remember that Christ covenant. We got to remember that. So important. I said this over a year ago, but from the very beginning, when I was casting vision with you, I prayed and I fasted and I talked about what God spoke to me, and that the elders confirmed, the staff was all in, and so many leaders in our church, and then now so many people that are on board. Yes, this is God. And we saw what God was doing as we're maxing out all the different spaces there, and God was in all of it and is in all of it. But I said this at the very beginning, and I'll say it again, that if any point in this process, the Renew Vision campaign, if at any point you thought this was just about a building, then I failed you as your pastor. Like, it is so much more than that. Again, it's about reaching people. It's about fulfilling our mandate, our vision, heaven full and hell empty. Amen, somebody? That's what it's all about. All right, second point from Nehemiah is a building project, something we can learn from. And this one gets me so stirred up. It's actually become really like a family motto for us over the years. But number 2 is this. It's not just how you start, it's how you finish. We finish strong. That's why, one of the reasons why I named it Finish Strong, this little kind of mini campaign in the middle of Renew Vision campaign. But we're finishers. Christ Covenant, can I tell you, like they bring you in the 9th inning to close the deal. Like you're a closer, you're a finisher. It's what God has called you and I to do. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. We've got to finish strong. I want you to open up the Word of God again. Move forward a few chapters to chapter 6. Chapter 6, Nehemiah chapter 6. I want to pick up in verse 15. So they had started the work. Now Nehemiah chapter 6, verse 15. So the wall was finished. Somebody say finish. The wall was finished on the 25th day of the month Elul. I know what you're thinking. What in the world does that mean? I don't know either, but here's the next part. 52 days. Aren't you thankful for the Word of God? Like, you may not understand that all the way to look up the context. 52 days. And when I love this part so much. And when all our enemies, so this is not the Israelites, not the people of God. When all our enemies heard of it, all the nations around us, they were afraid and fell greatly in their own esteem, for they perceived that this work had been accomplished with the help of our God. Come on, does that not stir you up a little bit? Like even unbelievers. Like this is mind-blowing. It's like awesome. Like people are like, I don't believe in God, but God must have done that. like I don't believe, I don't follow your faith. I don't believe, but that ain't natural. That's supernatural. I can't explain that. And here's the historical context. They had tried to do this before, and it had failed. But then Nehemiah steps up and says, enough is enough. We're not just going to start the work. We're going to finish the work. And again, they did what they couldn't do in years. They did in 52 days. And even the enemies are like, whoa, God did that. God did that. Can I tell you, Christ Covenant, when you get involved with God's business, when you listen to God and do what He says, when you gather with the people of God, there is nothing impossible. And it's not because of us. It's because of God. And He gets all the glory. Now, I know we got skeptics in this service, and I love skeptics because I am one of them. You're like, you're like, maybe it was just a picket fence, they built, and that's why they did it so fast. Or maybe it was a virtual wall, and that's how they did it so fast. It was figurative, Now, you can study the history. This is like fascinating. Here's how like crazy this build is, okay? Just, again, supernatural. This wall was not just any wall. It was 40 feet high. You guys see in the auditorium like how like high like the ceiling is. It's about 40 feet over there. In fact, we designed it. You're going to see it when we get over there. But we designed it where instead of being deep that way, it's actually wide this way. And the heart of that is, we're going to have 500 seats, but we want everybody to feel intimate and close, so it can kind of be wrapped around there, and you're going to see it. But ceiling's 40 feet. I mean, that is massive. 40 feet high, 8 feet wide. It's not some picket fence, okay? It's the real deal. And then check this out, 2.5 miles long. So it's not just any wall. Like this is a miracle. And remember, because sometimes we lose stuff in translation, like the context. Remember, they did not, like John Deere was not a company back then. Like no heavy machinery, no factories, just popping out bricks, None of that. And in 52 days. I don't know about you, but I can barely put together a desk from IKEA in 52 days. And I probably put together wrong, I have to go back. Like this is miraculous. Only God could do this. And so I want you to always remember, especially when we eventually get over there, that only God could do that. Only God could bring in the money like He's brought in. Only God could do it, and the speed we've been able to do things so far with our crazy Houston weather can't make up its mind. With all the different regulations and all the different stuff with the mud district and the county, like only God can do that. And not only do we acknowledge that God gets the glory, but even people who don't believe yet. Notice that I said yet. They're going to look over there. We got thousands of people that drive by every day. Only God can do that. But we've got to finish the work. Anybody can start a building project, but we're going to finish. We're going to finish strong. I want to close with this story. One of my favorite stories of all time, and you'll see why in a second. It's a story of Cliff Young. He's a guy that finished strong. Cliff Young was a 61-year-old farmer who turned the professional running world upside down. It was 1983. Ooh, that was another good decade, y'all. 80s. Anybody agree? Just 80s, man. Just good stuff. Hairspray, hair, glamour shots. Man, good times. It was 1983, and it was in Australia. And Australia was hosting its ultra marathon. This is how crazy. This is why it says ultra. Crazy long. This ultra marathon was 573.7 miles. Why do you need the 0.7, by the way? Like, isn't 573 like good enough? You know, that's crazy. It was from Sydney all the way to Melbourne. This race obviously took days to run. If I ran it, it would take the rest of my life to run it. And professionals from all over the world, they would come to participate. And shortly before the race began, you can look this up, a 61-year-old farmer named Cliff, he shows up to the registration desk. I want you to picture this as best you can. And he is not wearing a runner's outfit. He shows up looking like a shot from Farmers Anonymous. You know what I'm saying? Or Farmers Only. That's what it's called, Farmers Only. You know, the dating thing. Like, that's what he looks like. He's got overalls on, and he's got his work boots on. Like, that's how he shows up for the race. And everybody checking him in, they obviously think it's a joke. They're like, am I getting punked? Where's Ashton Kutcher? You know, like, what's going on here? Like, what's going on? And he's not joking. He's like, no, I really like to run this race. And so he signs in, and then he goes to the starting line. So this picture here, got a 61-year-old farmer, overalls, work boots on, and he's standing beside all of these professional, like, decked out racers, sponsored by everybody, you know. And they start laughing. People there in the crowd start laughing. And honestly, I don't even know if they were trying to be mean. It's just that's an unusual thing to see, right? So the gun goes off, and everybody, obviously adrenaline to the max, they start sprinting, but not Cliff. Cliff starts doing what would be called later the Cliff Shuffle. And it was this. Just shuffling his feet. Everybody takes off, and they leave him in the dust, but there he is, just doing the Cliff Shuffle. Now, here's the unbelievable part of the story, right? Like, I did not believe it at first. But 5 days, 14 hours, and 4 minutes later, Cliff Young shuffled across the finish line of the 573.7 mile ultramarathon. And check this out. He had won the race. He had won the race. And can I tell you, it was not a photo finish. In fact, the second place runner was almost 10 hours behind him. Like, he dusted them. He won so like he did so well. And so Cliff, he finishes the race. He had set a new world record, and he is mobbed by the media. They obviously want to know his secret. Like, what did you do? Like, is it something in those farming boots that we need to, like, you know, is there something in the tread? What's going on here? You know, is it the aerodynamics of your overalls? You know, they're trying to figure it out. Like, it's mind-blowing. Like, how did you win? Do you want to know how he won? He won because he never stopped running. Like, he literally, for 5 days, almost 6 days, he never slept. In fact, this is where it gets kind of like funny. The reason why he never stopped and the reason why he never slept It's because he didn't know he was supposed to. What everybody else does in the race is they run like 18 hours, which that sounds like hell to me, you know? But they run 18 hours and they sleep for like 4 hours. But Cliff didn't know that because he's not a runner. All he knew is I started something, the Cliff Shuffle, and I'm gonna finish it. He just kept running. Come on, run, Forrest, run. Jen A, you know? Just keep swimming, just keep swimming. Like he just kept going. He was a finisher. Again, I look at you, Christ Covenant. You're a finisher. Anybody can start something fast. We all know people that start things, but it's a select few that actually finish the work. But when I look into your eyes right now, I see you're a finisher. You're a finisher. You don't stop halfway. You don't give in. You don't quit. I'm calling us all right here and right now that we are to finish the work that God has given us. We are to finish strong. And I want you to make it personal today, because anybody can start a marriage, but it's a man or woman of God that finishes and stays in the marriage. Anybody can start a business. All of us know at least one person, they got about 15 businesses they've started in the last 2 years. But it's a man or woman of God that will finish the work, that will continue forward, that will continue to work hard, will continue to grind, to pray, to believe God. Anybody can decide, you know what, I'm gonna go back to school and get my degree. But it's a man or woman of God, a finisher, that will finish the degree even if it takes them 2 years longer than it should. Anybody can start the race, but it's a man or woman of God that finishes the race. And again, we don't do it in our own strength. We don't do it in our own power. It's because of his Spirit and him working on the inside of us. That's how we finish, because of him through us. So we will finish the work. You will finish the work. We are not done. We will continue. We're going to finish strong. Would you close your eyes with me, bow your heads? Lord, I thank you that I stand before right now so many finishers. We're going to finish strong. I pray, God, that they would internalize that, personalize that. Whatever area in their life that you have started a work, I pray, God, that they would take it, to finish it, to complete it, whatever that task is. God, I pray that we would remember that building. We're so grateful for it. And it is important. It's a tool. But God, more important than a building, may we see the people. May we see the thousands of lives in faith that we believe they're going to be saved, set free, baptized in the Holy Spirit, water baptized. God, may we see in the supernatural what you're going to do. That we're going to rise up and we're going to renew. We're going to rebuild. We're going to make your name famous. And even those that don't yet believe, they will have to acknowledge that God did that. Because it's not about my smarts. It's not about their smarts. It's not about my what I can bring to the table, what they can bring to the table. Not about my strategy or their strategy. It's about you. Amen. You are looking for those that are obedient. You are looking for those that will listen to you and do what you've called us to do. And we're going to do that, Lord. So help us to finish the work, to finish strong. Every head bowed, every eye closed. Can I tell you who was the first finisher? It wasn't Nehemiah. It's Jesus. Jesus finished the work on the cross. He stretched out his arms. He took upon all the weight, the pain, your sin, my sin on his shoulders. He gave his life. He sacrificed his life so that we could be forgiven and we could be set free. We could be made whole. We could have a right relationship with God. He gave his life for us. And at the very end of him giving his life, he said this word, tetelestai, meaning it is finished. Our God's a finisher. And because of the finished work on the cross, you can be forgiven right now. Not because of church attendance, not because of giving money, not because of volunteering at some shelter. Because of the finished work of Jesus, you can be forgiven of your sin. Jesus loves you so much and he wants to forgive you, but he will not make you. He has given you free will choice. He's already chosen you, but will you choose him? So all across this place, if that's you, you want to give your life to Jesus, I want to lead you in a prayer right now, a prayer of commitment, a prayer of surrender, a prayer where you put your faith not in yourself, not in the economy, not in government, but in God. So if that's you, just whisper this after me. Jesus, I give you my life. Just whisper to him. Jesus, I believe you are God, that you died on the cross, and you also rose from the dead. That's Easter. And so right now, you've got to ask him this. Right now, I ask you to forgive me of all my sin. Clean me up. Make me new. Jesus, in the same way that you rebuilt the walls and rebuilt the city and rebuilt the temple, rebuild my life. Give me a fresh start. Jesus, I thank you for the many I believe in faith that are saying that prayer. You hear them, you know them, and you love them, and you respond. And I pray even now, Holy Spirit, you would seal that in their heart, that they are saved, they are different. The enemy's going to try to lie to them, maybe even before they get to their car. But may you seal it right now, Holy Spirit, one of the things you do. That they are saved, they are set free, that they have a hope now in heaven one day. But even here and now, before heaven, you want to use them in Houston to see the city change for you. Lord, I thank you for what you've done all day long. We give you glory and we give you honor. In Jesus' mighty name. And the church said, encourage those that have said that prayer.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you sensed God's presence. If you made a decision for Jesus Christ, or if your life has been impacted in any way, please send us an email at info@christcov.net. We would love to hear your story. And for those that committed your life to Christ, we want to help you on your new journey by sending our free Start Bible Kit in the mail. If you'd like to partner with us financially, simply click on the Give tab at christcov.net. There it will take you to a safe and secure page where you can set up a one-time or recurring gift to help us accomplish our vision, heaven full and hell empty. And as always, you can find out more about Christ Covenant on our website or on Facebook or Instagram at Christ Cov Houston.